Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. It was fun. We had a nice Valentine's yesterday. What'd you think of that? Was that the best Valentine's Day ever?
It was something.
Yeah, we got to spend some time. We actually spent time with our kids on Valentine's Day as well. And I know that doesn't seem romantic, but we had a romantic anniversary earlier in the week. So I didn't want Heidi to have like romance overload because that would be bad. Coming up later in the program, we're going to be talking about the ocean. We have Peter Neill visiting about a book that he has out. It's all about the ocean and what's going on in the ocean, and it's a fascinating concept. So looking forward to chatting with him in just a short while. You ever wonder why we call a sheriff a sheriff?
No.
When I read this, I never thought about it before, but I was like, yeah, why do we call him a sheriff? Well, sheriff comes from shire reeve. During the early years in England, each shire had a reeve who was the law for that shire. A shire is like an area, and the reeve was like the person in charge of that shire. When the term was brought to the U.S., of course, it was shortened. Instead of shire reeve, it was sheriff.
Huh.
So that's where it is. I had no clue, but now I know. Coming up in a bit, we're going to find out what special things are happening today. That is on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask. It's Monday, February 15th. Hey, it's payday. Ooh, I like that. Also, it is Clean Out Your Computer Day. I need to do this. I was looking through, trying to find a file the other day. I found stuff from like 8 years ago. I'm like, maybe it's time to update and get some of this stuff off of here. Also, Grammy Award Day, so that's coming up tonight. I forgot all about that. National Gumdrop Day. It's President's Day, which of course I didn't forget about, and I appreciate all of the presidents that have served our great nation. Susan B. Anthony Day today. It's Angelman Syndrome Day today. It's Lupercalia Day today. It's Remember the Maine Day. And then one of my favorites on the list today, National Hippo Day. Because, the hippos, they deserve a day too, right?
Sure
I like hippos. I think hippos look awesome. I don't know that I would want like a pet hippo, but it would be really fun? It'd be really fun to ride a hippo, put a saddle on it and ride a hippo.
Until it kills you.
Yeah, he'd probably knock me off and stomp me to death, but I'd have fun doing it for like the 3 seconds I'd be able to hold on. That's going to do it for your special things happening today. Coming up, we're going to talk about punishment. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Punishment will increase until you start having fun. This is what's happening right now in Britain. The schools there are starting to ban various playtime activities. Football causes injuries, so that's already gone from schools. But now skipping rope is being banned because here, and I quote, some girls have fallen over. A popular game called Conkers, you know what that is?
I have no clue what Conkers is.
Calls for chestnuts. It's been banned because the nuts could be used as an offensive weapon.
Wow.
Yeah. The trend was discovered by Keele University researcher Sarah Thompson, who noted that, quote, all of the schools I visited saw playtime as a time that could not be left entirely to the children's wishes, end quote. Also, she noted that teachers at the schools she studied complained that once given the list of things that they could not do during playtime, the kids just didn't really seem to want to play anymore. So they're saying, you can't play this anymore because you could get hurt. You can't do that because you could get hurt. What are they supposed to do during quote-unquote playtime? They can't play. So what are they supposed to do? When I was a kid, we called it recess.
Yeah.
And we would go slide down a rusty metal slide.
We were always, there was a teacher out there, make sure nobody got hurt, but They pretty much left us alone.
I've seen people get their arms broken falling off the slide. I saw somebody bust a tooth on the merry-go-round. When we were kids.
At a certain point, the teacher probably does need to step in and say, that's a bad idea. Like if some girl's sitting on the merry-go-round with a jump rope around the bar.
Is this something that you did?
Slips and fall backwards and bash your head wide open on the edge of the merry-go-round. There's blood everywhere.
Did you do this?
Yes.
You did this? Did you really?
I did. One teacher fainted. The other teacher was trying to hold my head together. And I had to be taken and get stitches.
You know, this explains so much. I often wondered what point, but I think you just pointed it out.
My senior year in high school was rough.
They're banning all the fun in Britain. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain. And this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. It pays to be observant around your surroundings and your customers, especially if you're doing something illegal. Orlando's Michael Garibay approached Ed Johnson's car at a mobile gas station and asked if he wanted to buy some cocaine. As luck would have it, Ed said, "Yeah, I'm interested." Pulled out a plastic bag containing several pieces of flat white rock substances. Asked for the cash. Michael overlooked one little detail. He was dealing with Deputy Ed Johnson, who was in uniform, sitting in a marked patrol car at the time. Yeah. Michael is now sitting in a marked jail cell. Yeah, the guy went up to a police car and talked to an on-duty, in-uniform policeman and said, "Hey, want to buy some cocaine?"
Wow.
Yeah. Did you think that was going to end well?
Wow. I just have no words for that.
That's the kind of stuff you do when your brain is on drugs.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Sometimes you get what you pay for, even if it's veterinary medicine. Take a listen to this. New York police were able to bust a 28-year-old student, Stephen Vassell, on charges of treating pets without a license. They had two undercover officers help out. They would be Fred, the kitten, and Bert, the Boston Terrier. The investigation began after Bert's owner, Raymond Reed, contacted authorities after his dog survived a botched operation.
Oh, man.
Reed said that, in hindsight, he should have been suspicious of a veterinarian who makes house calls and treats pets at an undisclosed location.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this guy was not a veterinarian. He was a 28-year-old student. And he was like, "Hey, you know what? I can make a little money on the side. I kind of know what I'm doing. I'm learning this stuff." Well, he might not ever get to do it now. It's a bad idea. He was arrested for doing that. Don't do that. And guys, if you're trying to find care for a loved one, whether it's a human or a pet, go to a place that's a reputable place. That's not the kind of thing you want to find on the internet and go, where am I supposed to meet you? In that warehouse on 4th Street? Sure, I'll be there at noon. Oh, midnight? That's when you want to meet? Yeah, there's nothing shady about this. Anyway, we've got your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your Scoop of the Day. An official in the Scottish town of South Lancashire, who oversaw the closure of public toilets, had been caught urinating in public. Jackie Burns, who announced funding cuts for public bathrooms, was fined after police spotted him relieving himself outdoors. The interesting thing is he was the one who said, "We can't afford these public toilets anymore. Let's get rid of them." And then he got caught and fined for, relieving himself in public.
He was wishing there was a public toilet somewhere.
Sure would have been nice if we had those. We just couldn't afford them. At his sentencing on attempted murder charges, a Tennessee man apologized to his wife for trying to kill her 3 times.
Whoa, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
At least he said sorry. Hey, take it backsies. Can we make up? Callum Neff won the Katy Half Marathon in Katy, Texas, which is believed to be a world record for running a half marathon because Cal Neff was pushing a stroller. He pushed a almost one-year-old daughter, Holland, during the entire 1 hour, 11 minute, and 27-second run, and this is like a week ago Saturday, and he won the half marathon in Texas while running with a stroller. All I can say is I'm glad that I don't run in marathons because I would be embarrassed if I was beat by some guy that was pushing a stroller. Like, how'd you finish? Does it matter? The dude with the stroller beat me. I mean, I'm not even going to tell you my time. Hey, a new type of smart yoga pants have been developed that make a sound when the wearer uses the correct form for a pose.
What? That is ridiculous.
I've never done yoga before, but I'm telling you right now, if I ever did yoga, I would make all kinds of sounds, whether I was making the right pose or not.
I hope that sounds like a fart.
Oh, Heidi.
Just to make everybody else in the room uncomfortable.
It just means my pose was correct. Sure it does. You got chili on your chin. What are you talking about? A scientist in Transylvania has come up with the new artificial blood. So they came up with a way to make artificial blood. It's just coincidentally.
So now the vampires don't need to suck people's blood anymore.
From Transylvania, of all places.
Imagine all the lives this will save.
Well, I just think it's really funny that of all the places that came from,
yeah,
it came
that's
from.
hilarious.
All right. According to research, our brains get rid of their waste while we sleep. That explains a lot. I don't sleep much. That's why I have so much waste in my brain. All right. Hey, what is an extra inch in height worth? A study means it could actually help you earn an extra $800 a year. Researchers found that taller people tend to earn more money and win more respect at work. They found a height advantage even at jobs where being tall isn't even a qualification. In other words, they didn't just look up at pro basketball players. They looked up at people in the office, too. Mm-hmm. Some good news for the non-tall. The research also said being short doesn't appear to be prohibitive disadvantage. It says hard work and motivation and intelligence help bridge the gap. So even if you're not as tall, if you are motivated and you're intelligent and you work hard, you can be even less tall and still do well.
I do agree with that, though. Many successful people, when you meet them, they're very tall.
Yeah, you're like, wow, I never would have guessed you'd be that tall.
And even, look at our politicians. Yeah. A lot of them are just very tall people.
Yeah. After more than a decade as the world's favorite car color, silver is falling in popularity. PPG Industries, the leading supplier of automotive paint, says 25% of vehicles last year were white. That's up 3% from a year before. Silver and black tied for second place, 18% each. White dominates in Europe, North America, and Asia. Only South America is where silver is still king. So all the other countries are going with white cars. I've had different colored cars. My favorite color for cars is white because it sounds funny, but they stay clean longer.
Yeah, I like black.
Yeah, but they look dirty right away.
They do.
The black cars. So anyway, Zach Williams, 18, was robbed in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He tried to run away, then he was shot down. One of the things the robber stole? His pager. Police, upon learning about the beeper, figured, why not? They sent a page. Who even still has a pager? The robbers returned the call, and it was traced to George Morgan, 19, and his cousin Antonio Morgan. They were arrested. They stole the guy's pager and answered a page from the police. I bet they didn't put in 911 for the callback number. I didn't even know people still had pagers.
I didn't know pagers still exist. Yeah. I guess for doctors and stuff.
I don't know. Strange law. In Morrisville, PA, women must have a permit to wear cosmetics. In Morrisville, Pennsylvania, you need a permit to wear cosmetics. I wonder if you couldn't get a permit. Sorry, you can't have a permit. You look too darn beautiful. No way. All right, that's a strange law. And this has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. I've got a special guest joining me right now. We've got an author here. We've got Peter Neill. He's the author of The Once and Future Ocean, Notes Towards a New Hydraulic Society. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Great to talk to you. Thanks for having me on.
Well, and I'm excited to have you on here. This is kind of an interesting topic. We're going to talk about the ocean, and does it hold the secret to humanity's survival? And I think, when you look at the globe, we got a lot of ocean out there. There's a whole lot of ocean going on. So I think that it's good to know that there are other people thinking the same thing I'm thinking, because I'm going, boy, if we can find a way to harness the power of that ocean, that's going to probably help us a lot, isn't it?
Well, John, you're starting right where I start. If you take the long view and look at Earth from space, we probably should have called it aqua and not terra. 70% of the surface is ocean, and basically it connects us. It doesn't separate us. It's a kind of dynamic, interactive space where where we act out what we call today globalization, the exchange of natural things and goods and people and ideas. So the world is very small and very blue. It sort of sits at the epicenter of what is the engine for the global water cycle. We learn all about that in school, and I argue that the ocean begins at the mountaintop and descends to the bottom of the sea, and it goes into the atmosphere and back to the mountaintop and down again through the watersheds and aquifers. And it contains all the water on the earth, which is a finite amount, actually. But it's there in the lakes and the rivers and the atmosphere, and of course it's in our bodies.
Water is all around us. You propose a paradigm shift from land-based values and behaviors to water as a new organizing principle. What do you mean by that, and how would that work?
Well, I submit that the land is exhausted. We've exploited the earth in the name of unlimited growth based on consumption and enabled by fossil fuels, and that 19th century paradigm is collapsing. We can see it all around us in the air, in the poisoned waterways, the acidification of land and sea, and we can see it today in the financial markets, the overdependence of certain states and nations on a single, carbon-based source of revenue. And these benefits that we've enjoyed are now overwhelmed by the negatives and by the consequences. So we've got to look somewhere else. What's next is the question. We can coast and we can hope, but that's probably not good enough. We need to invent a kind of new way of living. So I'm arguing in the book for something called a new hydraulic society, which is looks at the ocean as the source and to its circles and cycles of conveyance that will enable a new system of valuation and forms of government and institutions and architecture and human behaviors.
So what are some examples of a hydraulic society? When you say hydraulic society, what does that mean?
Well, hydraulic means the movement of water, and it comes down to this one fact, that not one of us can exist more than a few days without a certain amount of water. It is absolutely essential to our survival as an individual, as a family, as a community. I give you Flint, Michigan, which is falling apart by virtue of its inability to provide adequate drinking water to the people who live there, and to nations. There are many, many examples in history where great civilizations have collapsed by virtue of the fact that they've run out of water. And that is happening today. California is a situation where the entire economy was put at risk by the result of a climate-induced drought, and they've been forced to make a change in a matter of months, and have reduced their water consumption, for example, by 20 or 25%, because they have to. There's just no choice. So, in effect, water is the most valuable element on Earth. It's not oil. It's not diamonds. It's not uranium. It's not Bitcoin. It's actually water as a kind of universal human need and universal human right. So all of us need to have a basic amount. Then what happens afterwards is we value and organize ourselves according to the utilities, the uses we put it to thereafter. And we don't really understand it. We look at the ocean and we look at the water systems and we just take it for granted. We don't necessarily pay the right price for it. We don't understand that when we walk through a supermarket aisle that there are millions and millions of gallons of water that lies behind the packaging and the production of the things that we buy. And those things don't get priced in, but in fact they will have to be. And the same thing is true in how we govern ourselves. So right now, for example, if we live along a rivershed, somebody up here wants to put in a paper plant or a manufacturing company and dump all their waste into the river. They can do it. It's their jobs, their taxes, their future, and they don't have to care about who's downstream and what the consequences are downstream. Well, if you change the paradigm, you can't do that anymore. And so the independence of a municipality from the municipality below it or adjacent to it may have to change. So you have things like watershed associations where people are suddenly saying, well, we're going to govern ourselves according to this most important thing on Earth, and we're going to govern it so we have an adequate amount, everybody gets what they need, everybody pays for what extra they want to use, and we have it sustainable so that it remains there for our children and our grandchildren.
Again, visiting today with Peter Neill, and he is with the World Ocean Observatory, and also has a new book that's out called The Once and Future Ocean, Notes Towards a New Hydraulic Society. Now, the book is available online right now, is that correct?
Yeah, you can download an ebook version in all formats, and it'll be in your bookstores in the next couple of weeks.
All right. So if you're looking for a hard copy, you can get one of those soon. If you want a digital copy, and there's a lot of people doing those digital copies nowadays, aren't there?
Well, it is. It's sort of an interesting thing. I mean, a lot of people were afraid about that, and it's not overtaking everybody, and myself included. We all like to have a real book in our hands from time to time. But I also carry an e-book reader because when I'm traveling, it's the most convenient thing on Amazing. And when you finish a book, you've got another one that you can light right after. You don't have to wait and go to the airport bookstore and see what you can find.
And the other thing that's neat is it doesn't require all the resources that it does to print a book on paper. So
that's very true. And as we continue to consume the trees, I mean, there's a whole impact on the ocean there too. Because what happens is you take out the trees, they create not only the filtering of CO2 and oxygen, but they also hold the land. And so when you get rains or extreme weather or drought or whatever it is, that land is no longer held together. It erodes. It begins to run into the rivers and silt with silt. It changes architectural patterns. It runs down to the ocean. There are aerial views of the continents where you can see where drought-induced silt has a huge plume that goes out into the ocean. Same thing with the Mississippi River. When you look at what happens down the Mississippi River watershed, and you look out and you understand that in the Gulf of Mexico, at the end of that river, there is an enormous area where there is not enough oxygen as a result of the toxic waste that's in the water column for marine animals to live.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
It is crazy, and we're when you think about it now, it's not just fresh water. Think about it much larger than that. It's fresh water. It's food. 40% of the world's protein is generated now from the ocean, and we're going to have to figure out a way to keep that percentage and increase it. So there's fresh water, there's food, there's energy, there's health. There are millions of animal species that are still to be discovered in the ocean. And right now in clinical trials for cancer treatments, many of the new drugs being tested are derived and synthesized from ocean species, from marine species. So every time we destroy a coral reef, what we're doing is we're not just destroying the habitat for little fish or the opportunity for a tourist experience. We're actually destroying the pharmacopoeia. We're destroying the potential that the earth provides us to create the things we need to maintain our health. So when you look at it, and you look at the urgency, and you look at the finite amount, and you understand, and you look at the full spectrum of what it will provide us, there is no argument about what we must do. And we have all the technology. It's not a question of technology or some sort of magic fix. What we don't have is the full public realization and the political will.
Again, our guest today, Peter Neill. Peter, thank you so much for visiting with us, sir.
It's great. Nice to talk to you.
And again, Peter has a new book out, and the book is called The Once and Future Ocean, Notes Towards a New Hydraulic Society. And that's available in your local bookstores here in the next few weeks, and also available now at Amazon. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Did you know that most boat owners name their boats?
Yes.
And what do you think the most popular name is? We got a limited amount of time here, so.
I don't know. Queenie.
No. Queenie? What are you talking about? The most popular name for a boat is Obsession. So if you happen to have a boat named Obsession, ding, 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 you are a winner. You and all of the other people with that same name. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
In the United States, more people are killed by deer every year than any other animal.
I could see that.
I think
There's
it's
lots
because
of them, and they jump
car
out in front
accidents.
of cars. And...
I don't think it's deer sneaking into homes and killing people.
No,
I think it's car accidents.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never seen anybody attacked by
But I could see that.
a
I
deer.
mean, how many deer do you see on the side of the
A lot
road
of them.
that are,
A bunch of them.
Yeah.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Health officials in China have estimated that 60 million Chinese people are obese. So it's not just an American thing. They're saying that, they've got a lot of things that they're adapting from Western culture, and one of them is...
You're welcome.
Yeah, there you go, guys. How do you say treadmill in Chinese? That's going to do it for our fun facts. Coming up, we've got computer passwords to talk about. They're in the news in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. First of all, I got to say, how are you liking your coffee over there, Heidi? Is that good?
Well, you put it in the wrong cup.
She told me. This is the funniest thing. This is a mug that was given to us by a listener, and I brought Heidi the coffee in this mug. And there was another mug sitting there, and I said, oh, why do you have my mug here? She goes, I like that one better. It's not that she doesn't like the mug, but what was the reason you didn't like this mug as much?
The coffee doesn't stay warm as long in this mug. It's true.
They're both porcelain mugs. I don't think there's...
It's true. It's cold already.
We need to run a scientific experiment with a
thermometer. It's cold
thermometer.
already. You just brought this in here.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to find a thermometer, and we're going to check that out. All right. Hey, if you have a computer password... and you think you're really smart because you outsmarted the people who break passwords, you probably are not as smart as you might have thought. First of all, what do you think the most used passwords are? I've got the top 5 here.
I would say your birth date.
No. Number 1 is 1234556. Seriously. Number 2 is password, just the word. Number 3 is 1234567 Number 4 on the list of most popular passwords, QWERTY, which are just the letters on the top of your alphabet or your keyboard. And then the 5th most popular password, ABC123. Now, if I just mentioned your password, if I just mentioned your password, if it was one of those, please change your password to anything else. These are the first things they guess. Now, if you have a 6-character password, how long does it take a hacker to guess it? No matter what it is.
Idea.
For the most, if it's all lowercase, 10 minutes. Lowercase plus uppercase, 10 hours. Lowercase plus uppercase plus numbers and symbols, it'll take them 18 days, and they'll crack that code. That's with 6 characters. If you go to 7, that goes to 4 hours if it's all lowercase, 23 days if it's lower plus upper, and if you throw in numbers and symbols, it'll take them 4 years. So if you get 8 characters, it takes 4 days for them to do if it's all lowercase, 3 years for lower and upper, and if it's lower, upper, and numbers and symbols, 463 years. Now, if you get to 9 characters, if they're all lowercase, it'll take them 4 months. Lower plus upper, 178 years. Lower, upper, numbers and symbols, 44,530 years. So the moral of the story is have a long password with lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and symbols, and you'll have the best password. And
I've got nothing to steal anyway, so that's
and then
not
write
a
it down
concern of
on a note and stick it on your computer monitor. That's what I do. So because I can't remember them.
I don't understand the benefit of stealing someone's identity because, I mean, if you've finally hacked in and you order a bunch of stuff off of Amazon or whatever, they're going to ship it to you.
Yeah, but
so you've got a place where it went. You know exactly who did it because there's an address.
I think that there's other things that they do with that. Anyway, coming up, we're going to talk about, what do we have here? Oh, this is one of my favorite stories about some girls at a middle school doing something, and it's funny stuff. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
I've had this story now for about a month. I had it saved with a bunch of stuff that was like on the bottom of a page, and I just finally saw it. I was like, oh, hey, why haven't I read this yet? This is funny. It's from Oregon, from a middle school in Oregon. Number of girls started using lipstick. So they would go in the bathroom and they would kiss the mirror, leaving little lip prints.
We've talked about this.
Did we talk about this?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
I think we talked about it off the air. I don't think we talked about it on the air. The principal said, we got to do something about this. So they called a bunch of girls into the bathroom and they showed, this is the custodian, this is Mike. He has to keep cleaning these things off, and it's a lot of work. And Mike, show them what you have to do this. So he took out a squeegee, dipped it in the toilet, scrubbed the mirror down with it, and then squeegeed it off. Since then, no lip prints on that mirror. I don't think that's how he was really cleaning it. But I can tell you, I think that is hilarious that they came up with such a clever way.
That they were like, kissing toilet water.
Yucky, we're kissing toilet water. I'm done. Yeah, that was hilarious. Coming up, we're going to talk about a really cool Valentine's story. I know it's after Valentine's, but about a gift that will keep on giving that one lady gave her hubby.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and a lot of people say, I love you with a heart. Well, you know what? One Ohio woman said, I love you with a kidney. 25-year-old Jenny Menahent of Akron gave one of her healthy kidneys to her 34-year-old hubby, Jay, and they had this scheduled transplant for yesterday. And I don't know for sure that this happened. I had the story ahead of time, and I'm assuming that it happened. One of Jay's kidneys had been destroyed by diabetes, and he had been on dialysis. So she decided, you know what? I've already given you my heart. So instead of giving you my heart for Valentine's Day, I'm giving you my kidney.
That's nice.
Isn't that nice?
They'll probably dump her right afterwards.
No, that's true love right there. So Heidi, if I needed a kidney, would you give me a kidney?
Yeah.
Why did it take you so long to think about that?
Well, I doubt we'd be compatible.
I'm just saying, if you need a kidney, I'll get you one. If I'm not compatible, I'll find somebody with that kidney.
My kidneys probably aren't any good. Honestly.
I was going to say,
I've had high blood pressure here recently.
And of the two of us, you drink quite a bit. Don't the kidneys do a lot of work to clean out that alcohol?
That's the liver.
Oh, that's okay. Never mind then. I apparently don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, my liver's no good to anybody.
Thank you, Jenny, for giving your kidney for Valentine's yesterday. That is really cool. Coming up, we're going to talk about asteroids and minerals. That's in the news.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to DollarShaveClub.com/radio to learn more. That's DollarShaveClub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Have you ever heard of the country Luxembourg?
Yeah.
I've heard of it, and what I've heard of it, I remember that it's a pretty wealthy community, a wealthy country, and it's not very big. But mining asteroids for minerals is one step closer to a reality because of the tiny country of Luxembourg. They made plans, and they announced last week that they are going to, according to NBC News, going to be have the first initiative in Europe to develop a legal and regulatory framework on the future ownership of minerals extracted from objects in space, like asteroids. They say they will invest in related research and developing projects and may directly invest in companies active in this field. So they're saying these asteroids are flying by, they're mineral rich, and what they're saying is we're going to find a way to go latch onto this asteroid as it's going by, mine the minerals from the asteroid as it's passing, and then bring those back to Earth.
Yeah, good luck with that.
That is just, does that sound like something out of like a science fiction movie?
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see that it's been done. I don't know what they're going to do, but
I don't know either.
Good luck with that.
This, to me, sounds like the plot of a movie. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like reality.
It's a great idea if they can get it done, but...
And I think it's cool. They announced this last week, and I was like, if they would have announced that on April 1st, I would get the joke. But they announced it in February. And I'm like, well, I don't know. But if it's true, it's the first time anything like this has ever been attempted. And if it's true, they're not saying they're doing it right now. They're saying we're going to announce that we will invest in this. So if you've got ideas, and I have an idea. It involves a Wile E. Coyote and a giant slingshot.
And the Acme Corporation.
Yes, an Acme Corporation slingshot and a little rocket for him to fly back with. So I'm going to
Works every time.
I'm going to see exactly how to get that idea to them. So I'm just kidding. I don't really have an idea. But for those of you who do, reach out to them. It sounds like they've got the funds and they want to invest. Coming up in a bit, we've got some good news that is on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
We always try to wrap this program up with some good news, and today is a day like every other day. I found something good to talk about. A California nurse made one little boy's day after she accepted his hospital proposal. This is really cute. According to Yahoo News, A.J. Robinson said his son, 5-year-old Gideon, was diagnosed with leukemia November 17, 2015. That's really sad. Gideon was then sent to, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Rady Children's Hospital, R-A-D-Y, Rady. I'm not sure how to say it, and I apologize. But it's in San Diego. He was there for chemotherapy when he met his favorite nurse ever, Sarah Richards. And Robinson said Gideon got the idea to ask Sarah to marry him after finding out she didn't have a husband. January 27th, Gideon made a little ring out of a bead and pipe cleaner and presented it to her in front of hospital staff. Robinson said she agreed, and she said, "Of course, you can be my hospital husband." Isn't that just adorable?
That's adorable.
So he was talking to her, and he said, "You're not married? Why are you not married? You're awesome." And so he's 5. She's not. She's a nurse.
That's awesome.
So now he is married to her, and she is his hospital wife.
That's adorable.
And he is a 5-year-old hospital husband. I just think that's really cool.
He's a mover and a shaker. That
yeah.
guy.
Oh boy. I'm like, hey. He's like, I got cancer, but I'm not leukemia is what he's got. I'm not going to let that slow me down because I'm going to be back on my feet soon, and you want to get a piece of me now while I'm here. So be my hospital husband. What do you think? 5 years old. That is just awesome. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope you had a great Valentine's Day yesterday. It's a President's Day today, so get out there and celebrate that however you'd like to celebrate that. But a big thank you. And I know there's some folks that don't work today. If you got the day off, spend time with your family. Do something fun. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more, and you can buy razors there, too, at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. They actually had one of the best Super Bowl commercials. The Super Bowl this year didn't have the greatest commercials, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I know there are people out there that thought some of them were hilarious, and I just didn't see I didn't see them as funny. In years past, they were usually pretty darn funny, weren't they?
Last year they weren't that great either.
So I think they keep increasing the price of the ads. They get more and more expensive every year. So then they have to cut their budget on how much they can spend to create the ads. My favorites are usually the user generated, where they do a contest where regular people get to submit ideas. Doritos does that. Some others do that. I'm going to submit an idea next year for Dollar Shave Club. I have a fun idea.
All right.
I wanted to do this video, and Heidi wouldn't let me because it involved her in the shower. So,
yeah, that's not happening.
We'll have actors. We'll find somebody else to do it. I'm not saying you'd be naked. I'm not saying that. But anyway, dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Go there and check out their video. Check out their funny video from 2 years ago that's still viral, and people are kicking it around. And, of course, buy razors as well. All right, a couple was arrested in Las Vegas for doing something Heidi wanted to do when we were in Las Vegas.
What?
There was a couple arrested for having sex on the giant Ferris wheel.
Oh, wow.
In the glass enclosed cabins. Remember when we were in there and you were like, "Hey, you think we
we were the only ones in
we
there."
We were in there alone. Well, they got caught. They got fined.
Well, that's ridiculous. It's
Why
supposed to be
ridiculous?
Sin City. You should be able to do that there.
Heidi, you don't do that. That's still public. If you are trying to have children and you want a baby girl, you're supposed to eat more of this, ice cream. Study, which looked at the births of 32 couples, found that eating ice cream or foods low in potassium and sodium but high in calcium and magnesium, like ice cream, led to women having more girls.
I've had a girl, and I do not like ice cream. So
well, maybe there's something to one of the other things that you were eating. You were eating a lot of burritos when you were pregnant. Remember that?
I was.
But it was when you were pregnant.
Yeah.
So,
but even before I was pregnant, I'm not an ice cream person.
I don't know how that works. Burger King is announcing they're going to have hot dogs. I think that's awesome. 2 different grilled hot dogs will be a permanent burger menu item at about 7,100 U.S. locations by the end of the month. I love hot dogs. And that's one of the things that I get at several of the other chains, like Dairy Queen has hot dogs. Now,
Dairy Queen does have good hot
and
dogs.
they're really good. So I'm really glad to see Burger King is going to get on the hot dog wagon. All right, wacky but true. Employees at a company in China are upset after their boss told them to ditch toilet paper in favor of newspapers and magazines. Yeah. The owner of the company says, as part of my 17-step strategy to save money. If that's step one, what in the heck is the next step? That was in China. He said, okay,
oh, man.
we're no longer investing in toilet paper. Just use newspapers and magazines.
And
They're
those
laying here
kinds
anyway.
of things don't flush.
I have no clue what his plan is. All I can
Wow.
say is I
Well,
would
hey.
not be able to work. I'd bring my own
I'd
toilet
quit.
paper. I'd bring my own. Well, first of all, I very rarely use the restroom for that at work
We've
anyway.
been known to cut corners from time to time, but we've never gone quite that
the radio
drastic.
Okay, everybody. How would you even bring that up in a meeting? And I like that it says, I've got a 17-step plan to save money. Here's plan one. The next plan is we're not going to need
It's
nearly...
going to get worse from here.
Yeah, we're not going to need nearly as much coffee because most of you are going to quit. So. All right, Deadpool. Have you seen the commercials for this?
I don't think so.
Ryan Reynolds is going to be the
love
star.
that man.
I know. So Heidi will watch it no matter what. Deadpool is right now. It's like just opened, and they're already working on the sequel.
Troy tells me, he was telling me about this, and he told me that if I were a superhero, I would be Deadpool.
Really?
He said that Deadpool is very sarcastic, and he goes out of his way to make people feel stupid when they do stupid things, and he's just a fun, crazy superhero. So he said, if you were a superhero, Mom, you'd be Deadpool. You'll love Deadpool.
Is that a compliment?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would I be if I was a superhero?
I don't know.
Who's that guy that's like just a giant rock? The Thing. I think that's what I feel like him once in a while. Hey, in downtown London, people panicked after a double-decker bus blew up.
Whoa.
Yeah, I would panic too, but it was all part of a new Jackie Chan movie.
Oh.
Some people panicked because they said, whoa, Jackie Chan is doing another movie? So I think that's probably part of the panic. Hey, a father wins a marathon. Oh, we just talked about this. Pushing a stroller. So I had that in two different places. And we'll wrap things up with this. A lucky shoplifter. An Italian shoplifter was caught after a store duped her into believing she had won a prize. The meat market, where she robbed a bunch of stuff, put up an image of the thief taken by closed-circuit TV cameras under the heading Lucky Shopper. So they had an image of her robbing the store, but it didn't. They just cropped in and had a photo of her. Said, this is our lucky shopper. If you know her, let her know. She's got a prize coming. The woman told the manager that she was the lucky shopper in the photo, and she was arrested. It's like, hey, I need to call some people in from the office. Can you wait here for a minute while we get your prize ready? Yeah, I can wait. The prize was a couple of handcuffs and a free ride to jail.
Good idea.
That was a great idea. So, and the neat thing is, that's probably a better way to get somebody to turn in. Like, if you know somebody that robbed a place, you're not going to go, oh, hey, that's my cousin. But if there's a poster hanging up saying our lucky shopper, if you know them, let them know they've got a prize coming, people would turn them in.
Yeah.
So what a great idea. That's
a great idea. You got to
Italy.
think outside the box nowadays.
Yeah, it is. All right. Going to wrap things up for our bonus break, brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.